Hi guys, it's Danny with Get Set Gear. Last time I did a review on the construction of this sheath called the Ainsworth sheath by Leatherman, and I commented on how shoddy the stitch job was. And I said in the video that I would attempt to re-stitch it by hand. Wow, that moves. That's not very confidence inspiring. Anyway, so this is a video for that. I'm gonna deconstruct it right now and begin to saddle stitch it. These are my boys. Okay, I'm halfway done through deconstructing the original sheath. And remember I had told you about how shoddy the stitching job was? Look at it up close. So now I'm gonna take that apart. All right, here is the deconstructed sheath. Just wanted to show you how it looks like inside. This is the inside of the front flap. This is the shape of the mold that they use to wet form this front section. You can see all those holes. Those holes are what I'm going to use to do the saddle stitch. You see in the middle here they're spaced by like maybe 3 millimeters, but on the edges it's like bisected by half. That's because they stitched it this way and they have to backstitch it. You backstitch when you want to reinforce an area or when you want to finish the end of a stitch. And the problem with machine stitching, you can't be as exact you can be with saddle stitch. When you're saddle stitching, you would just use the existing hole, but with machine stitching, it just went backwards and it just made an additional hole. That's one reason for the mess that you saw earlier. This side as well, you see that? So the less space you have in between the holes, obviously the weaker they are. When I stitch it, I'm just gonna ignore one of those holes, and I'm not gonna put too much tension into the stitch. Here is the back side. They didn't use glue, they used some type of permanent tape. I like it because with glue, when you push down the leather together, it can seep out, but with tape you don't have to worry about that. In my previous video I said that I like this hardware, and I still do, but the reason I don't use hardware to begin with is because hardware always wears out. They always do. Even the highest quality ones, and you eventually have to replace it. And that's just a hassle for me, in my opinion. I'd rather look for another way to secure the knife or tool. You can either use friction, you can use another flap. I would rather go with a flap rather than hardware, but I do like the looks of this hardware. All right, next I'm gonna stitch it up, I guess. Wow, I did one line of saddle stitching right there, and that really kicked my butt. I didn't anticipate it to be so difficult, but it's difficult because the hole is so small. The thread I have is kind of thick for this, and the needle I have is kind of thick for this. So I had to really put in some effort into doing this. So compare that to how it looked before. So I have the 2 melted threads right there. Before, the melted thread was inside here. I figured that this section would get less like wear, so I thought this would be a better place to do the melted thread. All right, I'm gonna do the rest and then I'll give you an update. My fingers are so sore from this. Okay, 2 melted ends, 2 melted ends, 2 melted ends, 2 melted ends. This is probably never gonna break. Next, I'm gonna glue it down right there. Well, maybe I shouldn't glue it down because I don't want to misalign it and glue it down and the hole's not aligned. So I'm just gonna stitch it right away. All right. All right, there's the finished product. Here's a close-up. And the limited edition charge. I'm debating whether to sell this or not. I bought it as a photo prop, but it's so expensive. Of course, my own sheets. As for the tuna, CRKT tuna, got the colorway for that. Some other options I have. Flashlight. I have tons of sizes for these. All right, thank you for watching.